call me a politician because I am flip-flopping. That's what you're supposed to do. Welcome to the Cosasverdes crypto trading show. This is going to be a Bitcoin and overall whole market crypto sentiment video. Go ahead, if you're returning, try to hit thumbs up. I have a few dorks who have alerts set just so they can come and thumbs down. So a lot of times when I release a video, within 30 seconds, I have 4 dislikes immediately. I don't know if they're paid employees by other folks or what, but go ahead and hit thumbs up for me, help out the algo so I can continue providing good content. If you're new and you have not seen my videos before, go ahead and turn this up to ×2 playback speed, because the initiation of timification is much more fun and you can get through the content a lot faster. If you like the content by the end of the video, then go ahead and hit subscribe. Hit thumbs up, and then if you do subscribe, let me know if you want to be a CRYPTILIAN or a crypto crackhead. So what this channel does is I try to show people very simple tactics to buy and sell, and so they have a good idea of what the heck am I doing when I'm clicking around with my money. So let's get after it. This is going to be, again, a Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano video. So I flip-flopped. Things are just way too bullish to even consider strongly that this is a trap at this point. There are still a few warning signs that this is possibly a trap. And the whole point of a trap really is to convince you that it is bullish before a big downturn, similar to how Cardano and Ethereum, just like they are now, were screaming when Bitcoin was doing this number over here, making a lower high, and Bitcoin technically is still making a lower high, lower than all this, right? While Ethereum and Bitcoin are screaming. So I'll just cover the potential bearish things first, but at the end of the video, I'm going to show you very specific ways to figure out, okay, if A, B, and C happens, then the chance of this having been a trap became very high. So I'll do that at the end of the video. So first the video, I'll show you the overall general potential bearish things, even though the chart is super bullish. Second, I'm going to show you all the reasons why this looks extremely bullish and what to look out for, which levels I think you should look for in terms of taking profits, even in your altcoins if you're playing alts, but by looking at the Bitcoin chart. And then third, I'm going to show you very specific ways to see, hey, was this a trap, and when does it become probable that it's a trap? So let's jump right into it. Here we go. So I've already said one thing about the possibility that this could end up being a trap. Ethereum and Cardano did scream up from May 25th to exactly here. Then the downturn happened. It was essentially a setup by the folks running this Wyckoff pattern, whatever Bitcoin cartel, whatever you want to call them, doesn't matter. It was a coordinated group with a lot of money, multiple players, multiple big players, and they drove up the price of both Ethereum and Cardano to fool people, and I got fooled as well. So right now, the same thing is happening. Bitcoin's putting a lower high while Ethereum and Cardano are screaming up. So that's one warning sign. However, things are much more bullish than they are bearish. I want to make that very, very clear. And the second big thing, actually, I'll show you 3 things, potential possible bearish signs just to look out for here. Bitcoin is technically in a weekly downtrend. This weekly closure is above this weekly closure. We are still at a lower high. So until Bitcoin can form, either dip down and make a higher low, and then also get above whichever point from which it downturned. It has to do both. It can't just come down here and say, oh, we're in an uptrend. You have to then come back above whichever level. And now, let's say Bitcoin heads down from here, which I don't think it will. You would have to get above this line in the sand at $50,550, where the weekly wicks are coming up to, which is the local high. You have to do both in order to establish a weekly uptrend. So there's a lot of work to do. Or what Bitcoin could do is just close a week above this line here, which is right at 60,000, almost exactly $60,000. My line that I have drawn here, this one, that's actually a bi-weekly line. And I'm on the weekly chart. So to be in the weekly uptrend, there are 2 options: lower high, then a higher local high. That's option 1, or option 2, just keep going up and close a week above these candles right here, which is almost exactly $60,000. I think it was 60,025 or something like that. Let's see here. Yeah, right at 60,000. So there are two ways that could happen, but just know that Bitcoin isn't a weekly downtrend. Is Ethereum and Cardano? Are Ethereum and Cardano? No. Which almost makes me think that this was a bear trap. And having driven price down was purpose, like this week right here, was the exact intent to make people bearish on Bitcoin right before a big market upturn, which is exactly what we've been seeing. So it could have been just a trap before a very bullish trend, which is what's happening right now, but we'll see. So the last thing I want to show you is potential, and I came across this on accident as my VIPs were chatting on a voice and video chat that we have up to 8 times a week. And I think this was 2 days ago. I spotted something on the 5-day chart, which is a little ominous. So let's check that out. I slapped on the 50 MA simple moving average and kept on the 10 EMA of the 5-day chart. Okay, so you can ignore these down here. I'll make a video on portfolios sometime soon. So what I'm looking at here on the 5-day chart is the idea, and I can even remove price. We don't even need price on here to see this, is that most failed rallies, the height at which they begin to fail happens as the 10 EMA comes up and kisses the 50 simple moving average on the 5-day. So right here, check that out. Red kisses blue, downturn. Second try, red kisses blue, downturn. Let me put price on so you can see what it did down here. See, big downturn like that. That's a severe move. Did it recover after that? Yes. But first it had a 36% down move. That's monster. Okay. Next one. The first dead cat bounce, what did it do? Came up and kissed the blue line. Will Bitcoin end up doing this? It's possible. Just race past it without kissing it. It's possible. But here, remember the one big difference? If you've been on my channel before, raise your hand. What's the big difference between something like this downturn, what Bitcoin's doing now, what Ethereum's doing now, versus what Bitcoin did here? It respected the weekly 10 EMA. I'm not on the weekly chart, but it rode the line. And since we're on the 5-day, it put price on. You should see price just respecting the hell out of this as opposed to just going straight to the moon. Even though it probably went straight to the moon about right there. But it respected the heck out of the weekly 10. Look how much time it put in testing it from below, testing it. Came up. Didn't even scream above. It just came up, closed above, came back right back down to test it the very next week. Even though I'm on the 5-day chart, respect, ride, kablam. Bitcoin hasn't done that. Could it do it without respecting the 10 and just come back and respect it later and come down and kiss it after new all-time highs are made? Absolutely. 2017 and 2016 bull run was full of that. It just kept popping. Right? Even though it did not spend time under the 10, a little bit different of a scenario. So this could happen without price on, but there was a major difference. Okay, so let's keep going here. There aren't very many examples because Bitcoin's a young asset. Another one, right before the coronavirus dump, this monster bull trap, it came up and kissed that 50 EMA perfectly. Okay, now let's go to current price. What do you see? They're kissing. Oh, isn't that so sweet? So that's the third and last warning sign. However, those 3 things were making me feel inside more bearish, slightly more bearish than bullish, particularly because there hasn't been respect of the weekly 10, which Bitcoin has always done forever and ever. And I've just very recently flipped to being much more bullish than bearish. However, I want to be very fair here. And I guess if I can do a 4th thing, right before this dump, the market was so brutal that with Ethereum and Cardano screaming up in this area, I also flipped to being bullish right about then, thinking, with Cardano and Ethereum doing this, there is just almost no way that after this daily lower low, even 5-day lower or daily lower low, because it started a potential jet downtrend by making a lower low on the daily, I said, no way it's going to form a lower high and then, then tank. I was thinking, there's just no way with Ethereum and Cardano doing that. And I flipped. And then about almost the exact next day, maybe 48 hours later, boom. So just word of warning, if I can say a fourth thing in terms of being precautious here with your money, setting stops, taking profits frequently, and not going all in on something right now without stops in, is that the market's very brutal. And that's the entire point of a trap, is to make you flip from, oh, I think it's going to downturn any moment now, any moment now, any moment now. And right when you flip the bullish, kablam, in your face, smack. That's how it works. However, you can't just live your life in that fear either, because you'll never hit a bull run, right? You'll just be sitting in the corner waiting for a downturn when all this crap happens. So you can't live your life in that fear, and you have to flip at some point, but you just have to accept the fact that right around the time that you flip, even though you flipped bullish, you still have to be, you have to be pretty cautious for a while, particularly right after the time that somebody wants to side. Could you get this dog away from me, please? Go, both of you little dogs. So you got to be very cautious right around the time you flip to be in bullish or flip to be in bearish. You got to. All right. So let's go in. Why is Tim Tum all? Yes, I did say Tim Tum. Why is Tim all bullish now? Well, there are multiple things, but this is what I'm seeing. Bitcoin has been riding the daily 21 EMA, testing it right at an important horizontal, testing it right at an origin line, which is a big deal for me. I know those origin lines work really well. Are they perfect? No, but sometimes they're pretty perfect. I mean, heck, look at this. That's partly why I got long on that one, because it hit my origin line. It already tested it, and it tested the daily 21. So if you zoom out, this origin line is a big, big, big deal. It's a big deal. It gets all sorts of price movement across Bitcoin. All sorts of price movement. All right, big turns and big events in price action, dips and price action pumps. So it came down and checked two important things. It consolidated very nicely in a very boring fashion within an area of resistance and consolidated at the top. Came down, bounced off the 21 again, and is breaking above. So has a daily candle closed again above this line that I have drawn here? No, it hasn't yet. This day has not closed. Could it turn red? Sure. Could this candle close here and then a big red day happen? Absolutely. But we're going to cover that at the end of the video, when you should flip to being super precautious or, taking profits immediately. So that is one reason why I'm being pretty bullish right now. Let's look at the weekly chart on Bitcoin here. Also, another reason to be bullish is this. Bitcoin its current price action is above these two weekly openings. That's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big deal. If that doesn't make sense to you, these weekly candles like this, they often, if you have two lined up like that, they often form, pretty heavy resistance. And if you have a doji at the top of a nice huge run like this, that's oftentimes when you start downturning. And I really thought this week was going to be red based off that. Japanese candlestick trading, I mean, that is not bullish at all. However, the next week, okay, quick dip down to the daily 21, kablam, in your face. We're passing this. This week does not look like it's going to turn back around. And because this week very likely will close above this line at 49,300 roughly, above those candles, if it does, the chance for next week to be very green is very high. So that's another one. The monthly chart. In all of those bull trap scenarios, Bitcoin is doing something more bullish now, something that it never did all those times that it had a dead cat bounce, that it had a failed rally. It's doing something now that it never did. which is the primary reason why I'm now pretty bullish, particularly because this is a new month. Even though we're very young in this month, let me show you what I'm talking about. I got to put back on the 10 EMA. We are on the monthly Bitcoin chart. In 2013, you had that big downturn, then a pump, but Bitcoin price never closed below the monthly 10 EMA. Here it did. So Bitcoin follows a pattern. After a month closes below the 10 EMA for the first time, you then go on a rally. Will it be the very next month? No, not always, but it'll be either 1 or 2 months after. So, and there's only one time that there had ever been 2 green months in a row during that rally directly after the closure of a month under the 10 for the first dead cat bounce before a big downturn. So this is the only time that I'm circling where you had 2 green months for that rally, a failed rally. Okay. Next one, close below the 10 EMA, 1 month of rally, downturn. See that? Close below the 10, 2 months later, big rally, failed. That was coronavirus. And we've seen that with the 5-day EMAs as well. I just used that as an example, but this is what it looks like on the monthly. Only 1 green month. 1. And that's all the examples. Okay? So here, well, besides current example. So here, Bitcoin closed below the 10 EMA, which honestly, I think it might have been a bear trap. It trapped bears to get people more bearish than it should have been. I think price was driven down exactly below there right at the end of the month, because we saw this on this channel. It was flirting with the line the whole time, and right in the last hours of the month, price closed 0.65% below that line. And then the next 2 days were bearish, and then it flew up to continue getting people bearish, to get more and more shorts on. So the folks getting ready to buy Bitcoin with a lot of billions and billions of dollars, so they could take on those longs as other people shorted and kablam in your face. So it honestly, this might have been just a big bear trap. That's what the monthly is saying right now. That this was just one massive bear trap, and the bull trap's not going to happen. Now, could you have a bear trap than a bull trap? Sure, you could. You could, but it's not looking like it. So right now, we are on our 3rd month. Okay? Now, you might say, Tim, this month hasn't closed. It could turn around and go red. Yes, it could. However, take a look. We have a line in the sand. If Bitcoin even closes a day above here, a day above 50,550, which, how did I get that line? It's the wick of that month, okay? If it one day can close above there, the likelihood of Bitcoin racing up to this line around 58K is extremely high. It's the next resistance. There's almost nothing between here. There's very little resistance between here. It'll probably fly. And it'll probably fly as Ethereum and Cardano kind of chill out and go sideways and consolidate, because Bitcoin would probably catch up, which is one of my theories that I have. Bitcoin and Cardano and Ethereum, they have to get more equal in terms of relation of current price to its all-time high. So Cardano's making all-time highs, Ethereum is flirting with its all-time highs, but Bitcoin's far away. So Ethereum and Cardano, in my theory, need to calm down for a little bit, maybe not get bearish, as Bitcoin catches up. And this situation is cooking up to look like that's exactly what's about ready to happen. And so, if you can get a weekly closure above this line, even though I'm on the monthly chart, a weekly closure would increase that statistical probability of Bitcoin racing up to this next line at 58K even more. Okay? And if this month in 28 days closes above here, well, goodbye. I bet Bitcoin can make all-time highs that very next month in October or in November. If it can close a month above here, the next 2 months would very likely be green. That's what I'm seeing in the charts. So you might want to draw this line in the sand on your chart as well, even if you're not maintaining on the monthly chart, because most people aren't on the staring at the monthly chart all day. It stays there. I really recommend you drawing that line, and maybe drawing a line around 58.8. 58.8 is the 2-week, and you can see how just ridiculous this is, like how all this is stacked. This is going to be pretty hard to pass. And it's going to be more of a zone between 60,000 to 58. So to the tops of these 2 candles, to the tops of this range, that's going to be pretty tough to pass. However, I just put one line in there. I really should put a box. So, and honestly, you might want to put a box on yours too, because if Bitcoin closes 1 week above or above this entire box, or even in the box, it's probably going to make all-time highs rather quickly after that. So, and again, that box, if you go to the 2-week chart, I'm just connecting the top candle bodies to these bottom candle bodies here. Everything's stacked up, and it's a pretty small range. Range of what percent? Only 2.6%. It's not very big. Okay. All right. So another thing that I've seen that's pretty massively bullish. Well, just a minute ago, it was above there. Is that the monthly chart? Weekly chart? Maybe it was Ethereum. Ah, okay. Ethereum's 2-week RSI broke both above the EMA of the RSI, which is the white line. So like price has EMAs, RSI has EMAs. It broke both above that, and it got into this green zone, which is the bullish control zone. And that's pretty bullish for the whole market because Ethereum's kind of leading right now, or Cardano is mostly, but Ethereum and Cardano are leading everything, and that's a big deal. This could mean that this run is just getting started if this 2-week candle, which closes when? Which closes in 10 days. If this 2-week candle can close strong and this stays here, and the next 2-week candle begins in the middle of this month of September, the likelihood of this being the beginning of this run is pretty high. Pretty high. So there's just so much bullish stuff going on right now. So let's look at Ethereum's 2-day chart. Another really bullish thing is the 2-day RSI came down and checked its RSI and bounced off of it and got into the bullish control zone, this green zone here. That is huge. And that also insinuates, or you can interpret that as saying, this is just getting started. So see how, roughly a rejection of the green zone here, roughly rejection of the green zone came down, popped it, checked it, bam. So if you can check this line that healthily, and this triple check, so you have 1 check, 2 check, 3 checks, all above, right? That's more bullish than going below like this. So if Ethereum had gone way below in its check and still screamed to the top here, which was a monster move, it can do it again with these awesome, very bullish rechecks right here. Which means this could be the beginning middle of the move, which means far beyond 4K. Like, I'm talking 5,600 potential at the end of this move, potentially. That's how the 2-day chart, its RSI is reading right now. All right. So just like Bitcoin's line in the sand, Ethereum's line in the sand off the weekly, or is it by, yeah, off the weekly chart. If Ethereum can close a week above here, and that's at 39.25, that's literally just as good as breaking all-time highs. That means the week after that, you're probably going to break all-time highs or hit the all-time high. And then the week after that, you're going to break it. So if Ethereum can just close a week above 39.25, you can, not financial advice, but it would be a very statistically likely bet that the next week after that would do pretty well. Statistically very likely if the month or if the week can close above there. Okay. All right. Cardano, I mean, all-time highs, there's not much to talk about. This is just stupid awesome. Like this is, there's nothing bearish about this really. I mean, there could be some bearish divergence here on the daily, which actually there is. So you're forming lower highs while price is forming higher highs, but bearish divergence on a specific time frame doesn't count as strongly, in my experience, if you're still in the bullish control zone. If you're in the bullish control zone, you can just base off this and do it all over again. Or you can just ride here forever and keep making higher highs. You can just ride in here. Or you can go below and peek your head and still make higher highs. As long as it peeks its head in here, that's higher highs on the daily. So you do have a little bit of you do have bearish divergence on the daily there. However, the 2-day, it's still in the middle of the bullish control zone. and it's consolidated there. So here it just screamed up, came right back down, and no consolidation. Look what happened last time it consolidated. Consolidated in the middle, kablam. Monster move, which means, again, on Cardano, it's insinuating this could be the very beginning of the move, or the beginning middle, the middle beginning of the move. And the big part of the move has not happened yet. The charts are really reading that. And the thing is, though, viewing this type of consolidation here, that it just feels like that would not be typical of a bull trap. A bull trap would probably look more like this on an RSI, getting into a bullish control zone and then dipping right out, saying peace out later. So, and this is reminiscent of the idea that we're on the third monthly green candle for Bitcoin, regardless of being at all-time highs or not. So now, at the end of the video, I told you I would show you a few methods to identify, okay, is this turning around? Should I get bearish, or should I start flipping my probabilities? I'm on BCH right now. I shouldn't be there. Okay, so let me show you one thing. Very easy thing. Go to the daily chart. So here's like rule of thumb number one for this situation. Now, is this a rule of thumb for all situations? Absolutely not. However, if Bitcoin closes a day below the daily 21, you need to put your guards up. You need to put your guard up if that happens. It's pretty far away from there. It's not going to happen very quickly. It doesn't look like, because it just got to bounce off there. Could it turn around quickly tomorrow and close below? Absolutely. But that would be warning sign number one, that this is about ready to turn around. Warning sign number two is if Bitcoin breaks this structure and closes a candle, well, I guess it's pretty close to that same line. But if it breaks this structure, this daily structure here, all this consolidation, which would happen potentially at the same time that it closes below here. But thing number two is that that would put my guard up even more, and that would increase the chances. So if Bitcoin closed below exactly 46,860 bucks roughly, if it closed the day below there, that would be increasing the likelihood that something bearish is about to happen. So that would be my second warning shot. Now, by the time that happens, the daily 21 will probably be a lot higher. So it is very possible that Bitcoin closes a day below here, but not below that line, and then recovers, which is why I would say that if it closed this line, it would increase the statistical likelihood of a downturn, and you put your guard up even more, and maybe even start jabbing, getting a little offensive there. If the second thing happens below that line. If the first thing happens, I would say just guard up below the 21, closure below. I would get ready. I wouldn't start shorting things, selling all my alts necessarily, but that would be my first warning sign. And the third thing to look out for is, actually it's the same darn line, so is you're going to break weekly structure if that line is broken. So I guess this is still thing number two, but it's seen on a bigger, more powerful chart. If a week, so on a weekly scale, not just price go below here, but, so I guess this is the third thing, because price can dip below here on the day, but close the week up here, still green and above this line, and that would be good. But the third line of defense where I personally would turn bearish, like possible full bear mode, is if a weak candle closes and the next one begins under that line. So those are the three things to look out for. Now, new viewers, if you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit subscribe, hit the like button. And again, if you are new and you happen to subscribe, let me know in the comment section whether you want to be a Cryptilian or a crypto crackhead. Y'all just got Timified.